Today, Apple holds its first product launch of 2021, unveiling new high-end iPad Pros along with a suite of other devices. But after blockbuster personal tech sales during the pandemic, will demand for Apple's hardware cool down? Plus, police in Texas and federal regulators are investigating a fatal Tesla crash in Houston over the weekend after authorities said no one was found in the driver's seat. And finally, Dogecoin is a cryptocurrency that started 8 years ago as a joke, but its out-of-this-world gains are very, very real. I'm Pippa Stevens, and this is CNBC After Hours. Before we get to all things stocks, we want to bring you up to speed on some important late-breaking national news. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been found guilty on all charges. For all the details and analysis, be sure to check out CNBC.com and our friends at NBCnews.com. Now to the business of Wall Street. Stocks finished lower across the board for the second straight day amid an alarming rise in global COVID cases. But we should note that the market is already trading near record highs. Corporate earnings season is well underway, and this afternoon we heard from Netflix. And the results were, well, they were mixed. The streaming service reported a bigger than expected profit, but also revealed a dramatic slowdown in subscriber growth. Netflix gained just shy of 4 million new subscribers last quarter. That's 35% lower than the 6.2 million analysts were expecting. And big news out of fellow player in the streaming wars, Apple. The tech giant held its first product launch of the year today, unveiling colorful new iMac desktops, a lost item tracker called AirTags, and new and improved high-end iPad Pros. Even though they make up less than 10% of Apple's revenue, iPads have seen explosive sales over the past year amid the pandemic. In the last quarter of 2020, iPad sales grew 40% year over year. But what happens to the product line once pandemic conditions wind down? The After Hours team explains.
In its fifth entirely virtual event since the start of the COVID pandemic, Apple just unveiled a host of new products, from a podcast subscription to AirTag trackers to a complete refresh of its iconic iMac computers. But one of the biggest areas of focus was on the iPad Pro lineup. Apple stepped up its commitment to its in-house M1 processor by putting it right into the iPad. It's the first time the company has placed a desktop-class processor into a tablet. The larger 12.9-inch iPad Pro also received an all-new screen based on mini LED technology to give it a high-quality, color-accurate display for creatives. And Apple made it clear that these updated iPads were made for doing work anywhere. Better camera technology for people doing video calls, 5G integration to download files faster on the go. The last year has upended traditional school and office environments. Many customers picked up an iPad to integrate into their work-from-home routine. In fact, iPads alone accounted for more than $8.4 billion in revenue during the 2020 holiday quarter, and the new features unveiled today could entice more buyers to drop the cash for the latest model.
We estimate about 40% of the iPad install base has had a refresh over the last, call it 18 months. So there's still that pent-up demand. But when I look at the mini LED, I mean, that's really been the feature from a technology perspective that everyone's been waiting for on the iPad Pro.
Analysts expect that this demand could continue even as workers return to the office. Remote work, in one form or another, is here to stay. For its part, Apple took plenty of time to show how its range of devices could work together in a flexible work environment. Calls to your iPhone could be answered on your iMac or iPad. Files started on the go could be picked up when you're back at your desk.
There's no doubt that there's a massive tailwind on this work from home, and even on the other side of a vaccine, still called 30 to 40% in some semi-remote workforce.
And keep in mind, this is only the first Apple event of 2021. With more planned over the summer and into the fall, this could be a larger sign of the strong product year that's ahead for Apple. Analysts expect refreshes to AirPods, the Mac lineup, and of course, the all-important iPhone 13.
Well, we've seen this work-from-home environment, plus with the enhanced chip and the mini LED. It's a renaissance of growth on the iPad, and it's very important that Apple continues to put that iron fence around their install base, not just from the iPhone, but when it comes to iMac, iPad, the Watch, and AirPods. And that's why this is a pretty important release that I think something that's definitely going to give a tailwind, not just on iPad, but I think broadly across that whole trend that Apple's seeing on the work from home environment.
Apple's new iPads can be ordered on April 30th and start at $799 for the 11-inch and $1099 for the larger 12.9-inch option.
Okay, let's get to our sound check. Here's a roundup of the day's biggest action and what the top newsmakers and business leaders had to say on CNBC's airwaves.
So for this year, it's Connecticut and Rhode Island. And as a reminder, we've already seen Arizona, New Jersey, New York, and New Mexico legalize for adult use cannabis. As we think about 2022, Pennsylvania is going to be a big one. It's already a very large medical market, approaching $1 billion. We do see and hear from industry insiders that Republicans in the state assembly are increasingly warming up to adult use cannabis, given the jobs and tax revenue opportunity.
We believe we definitely have the best value to offer. We have the better bid. We have the better railroad and better partners to crystallize even more value at a time where they've decided that they want to combine with another railroad. It's a growth story. It's about creating new business. It's about converting freight, which is on the highway, to put it on the rail. And it's also to enable customers to do more trade and connect to more customers. So it's not about removing any competition.
I think overall leisure demand is probably domestically at more than 100% right now, and places like Florida or the beach destinations in Mexico or the Caribbean, I don't know how people are finding hotels. I guess thank goodness for Airbnb because we have so many people that are flying to those locations. Demand is absolutely over 100% to those locations.
All right, despite Bitcoin's weekend tumble, the cryptocurrency is still close to 100% higher since the beginning of 2021. And the rally has extended to other players in the crypto asset class, including internet favorite Dogecoin. The whole thing was started as a joke in 2013, but the gains are very real. Dogecoin is up more than 7,000% year to date and roughly 480% in the past month alone. Though we should note, one Dogecoin still costs less than $1. The rally seemed to coincide with the explosion of so-called meme stocks like GameStop in late January. But don't be confused. Dogecoin is not Bitcoin. Most institutional investors don't take it seriously, and there are considerable risks to anyone putting a significant chunk of their savings into Doge. In honor of quote-unquote Doge Day, Kate Rooney walked us through the whole thing.
So today, it's April 20th, aka 420, which is best known as a holiday or unofficial holiday to celebrate cannabis. Meanwhile, investors in the cryptocurrency Dogecoin have launched a campaign on Twitter to try to make this the official day for Dogecoin. They're calling it Doge Day. There's hashtags everywhere. Dogecoin started in 2013 as a joke. Its founders have said that they wanted sort of a fun alternative to Bitcoin. Meanwhile, its market cap this year has reached $50 billion. It's now the fourth largest cryptocurrency in the world. So Dogecoin is making people some real money. There's a lot of people that have jumped on the momentum and tried to kind of ride that, thinking that it's going to increase in value. It's very different from Bitcoin, though. There is an unlimited supply of Dogecoin. There's no real mining process. There's an infinite supply. Meanwhile, one of the big factors with Bitcoin that a lot of institutional investors have said is the big reason why they invest is the scarcity aspect. So there's 21 million Bitcoin total that can ever be mined. There's been about 18 million mined so far. So the idea is that there's not an unlimited supply. They say that's one reason it is sort of a hedge against the US dollar and inflation in that sense. So Dogecoin is by no means seen as a mainstream payments vehicle, but some people are starting to accept it. You have the Mavericks announced that there's a petition out there that people are looking to get Dogecoin accepted on Amazon. Elon Musk, high-profile CEO, has been an advocate for it. So if we do see any adoption here or use cases, a lot of it seems to be people kind of jumping on the bandwagon saying people are having fun with this, so why not offer it as a payment method? So most people I talk to are not investing in Dogecoin as a way to grow their retirement or put their life savings in. It is really seen as a fun way to get involved in the markets, to sort of be a part of this movement on Reddit and on social media. And they're saying, okay, this is fun. It's only trading, it's less than $1 to buy one Dogecoin. So what's the risk? The risk here is if people are investing, any significant portion of their portfolio and seeing this as a long-term asset. We've seen this with cryptocurrencies before that have crashed. You wonder when sort of the fun factor of investing in a meme will wear off, and if it does, there is a huge risk to retail investors that they might lose a lot of money.
Before we go, let's get to the numbers round. We'll start with 1. Today marks 1 year since the price of oil went negative for the first time in history. Oil is traded via futures contracts, and when those expire, a barrel of oil is delivered to the contract owner. Producers and refiners hold these contracts as a way to lock in future prices, while traders buy and sell them to hedge the rest of their portfolios. But this time last year, the onset of the coronavirus pandemic kept much of the world locked down in their homes, ground nearly all travel to a halt, and sent demand for oil and fuel plummeting. So all the traders who held contracts as a hedge, well, they were suddenly on the hook to accept delivery of a physical barrel of oil. Well, they didn't want them, and no one else did either. So traders had to pay people to take the contracts off their hands before the expiration date. Now, 1 year later, WTI crude prices have rebounded and will now set you back about $63 as lockdown orders lifted and the global vaccine rollout began. But the whole thing was wild, and it's worth pointing out how far we've come in a year. Next, 28. Texas authorities are investigating last weekend's fatal Tesla crash in Houston that claimed the lives of 2 people, neither of whom were in the driver's seat, according to police. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has also opened a probe into the crash, its 28th investigation into a Tesla accident. The tragedy has raised questions about Tesla's marketing of its driver assistance features, which are branded under the names autopilot and full self-driving. These technologies are not yet comprehensive enough to operate cars safely without a driver at the wheel, and that's made clear in the Tesla owner's manual. Yesterday, CEO Elon Musk tweeted that the company's data logs show the autopilot feature was not engaged. And finally, 4. 1 in 4 workers is considering quitting their job after the pandemic. That's according to Prudential Financial's Pulse of the American Workers survey. 80% of those looking to leave say they're doing so to address concerns of career advancement. And 72% say the past year has caused them to rethink their skill sets. Additionally, the workers who want to quit overwhelmingly say they're looking for more flexibility in their jobs when it comes to remote work. We've got the whole survey written up on CNBC.com and on the CNBC app. That's it for After Hours. We'll be back here in our home office every Tuesday and Thursday, so be sure to catch us then.